Health is a life sentence without parole. Too many of us carry invisible wounds, trauma, loss, shame, and silence. I created the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast to break that silence, to give a voice to the voiceless. This is not just a show. It is a platform, a place where authors, veterans, first responders, survivors, and everyday people can share their truth without fear of judgment. We crawl through the darkness. We walk toward healing, and we run into purpose. Together, we will build this community. This podcast is about resilience, about stories that matter, and about reminding the world that your voice could save someone's life. I'm your host, Stevo, and this is Crawl, Walk, Run.
To every past warrior, every current service member, and every future soldier thinking about signing that line, what's one reason you'd go back? Was it the mission, the structure, the identity, or the brotherhood? And when the uniform came off, did that brotherhood disappear? Or did we just stop talking about what we're carrying? This is Crawl, Walk, Run, Veteran Talk, powered by Storytime with Stevo. No guest, no filters, just the top 10 conversations veterans across the world are having right now. The identity crisis after service, the I'm fine mask, VA frustration, financial pressure, marriage strain, isolation, invisible wounds, entrepreneurship versus burnout, political fatigue, and the global conflicts we still feel in our bones. Each episode breaks down what it is, why it matters, and why veterans can't afford to stay silent about it. This isn't therapy. This isn't politics. This is perspective. Because the real question isn't, would you go back? It's, do you still have your brotherhood? Or are you fighting alone? Welcome to Veteran Talk. Let's talk.
Good evening. I am Storytime with Stevo, and this is the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast, Season 3, Episode 8, Vet Talk. And I'm your host, Stevo. I do not have a guest tonight. This will stream on Wednesday, so this is the way this will work. First, I just want to tell you that I am not a SME, a subject matter expert. I'm using my upbringing as a child, as I sat back when I joined the military and sat back as a follower and eventually was promoted to sergeant first class and then was in charge. I used my battlefield knowledge. I've been to combat 5 times. And then my 16 years in the civilian government working with dignitaries and whatever. There's going to be a couple F-bombs here. Really don't care. My guest canceled on me. I don't have a guest for 2 weeks. Some people can't record for 2 weeks. So if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me. I got this new thing called Vet Talk, VETTOK, nothing to do with TikTok. But I like it unique. Like Storytime is TYME, and then Talk is TOK. So let's not delay. What I did was I created this Vet Talk because I think it needs to be brought to the attention. So if there is any veteran podcast hosts that want to come on the show and we can do like a kind of like I want to call it like a tip of the spear. That's not my thing. You and me and my guests can talk about the subjects. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT, which I call my ChatGPT Echo. And I asked Echo to give me the top 10 trending subjects that veterans go through. like active duty, past, present, and future warriors. So it spit out 10 items, and then it gave me a question. So it pulled a database. What was the main question? So there's some of these talking points that I really don't want to dive into. I will just use my knowledge. I'm not even going to bring up some of these. This is not a political show. And I want people to understand that I am not anti-government. If I was anti-American, then I wouldn't wear a red, white, and blue on my hat. So for those who think politics are more important than your friendship, you're probably in the wrong place. So there is one question on the podcast that is, I believe, political. So let me dive into it. The first question is the identity crisis after the uniform. You all know where I'm going to go with this. Some of us served in the military for 20 years. Some of us did 12 years and medically got out. And I'm just going to tell you that it's a lot different when you transition out. I'm just going to tell you that straight up. When you transition out of the military, it doesn't matter how successful or networking that you've done. The grass is not greener. Okay. So I just want to bring to your all's attention that the question is, who are you when your rank disappears? Now, I know a lot of people who transition out of the military and they bring that rank with them. Well, I know a lot of people who have culture shock when they get out of the military, and they see for themselves that the grass is not greener on the other side. And when I say that, I mean, transition is hard. It really is hard. What helped me was I kept in contact with some of my soldiers, not all my soldiers, but a lot of my friends that are now retired. I kept in contact with them. And a lot of people tell me that I'm too military. So the talking points are loss of structure, ego versus humility, missionless mindset, reinventing yourself without a title. So I first want to say I was combat arms. So I was 13 Bravo. And I was with the 11 Bravos, the tankers, and the grunts and freaking cab guys. But one thing I found through my journey in life, there are more successful combat arms individuals out there because we're the ones that got put down the most. 13 Bravos, they have no knowledge. They're dumb as a rock. Infantry, dumb as a rock. All they do is just unalive people. Well, here's my thing. When the rank comes off, you lose that superiority structure. And I'm talking staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, officers, or whatever. So you're not that rank no more. And now I use my pen name as an author, SFCRET, William A. Stevens, because there's so many William A. Stevens out there. If you look them up, you can't find me. But if you look up my pen, that is SFCRET, I'll pop immediately. My books will pop immediately. So, and if I'm engaged in a conversation, I will never have anyone address me by my rank. That's all gone. I am Billy, Bill, Stevo, 1821. I built that reinventing myself. Okay. Now, I can't speak for others how they reinvent themselves, but I will tell you that listening to a lot of veteran podcasts and the host, they came from nowhere. like when they got out of the military, and they reinvented themselves and became who they are today with their platform, with their show, and everything else. And I just want to tell you that it doesn't matter what grade you were, what you were. It's all about when you get a job. If you don't get a job, then you become like you get into sales or whatever, or you do online content, whatever. But I am just going to tell you that I truly do believe that it all depends on how you write your resume. No one cares about your awards. No one cares about your deployments. No one cares about your rank. It's all about transitioning and taking what you've done in the military and putting it into civilian lingo. So if you don't want to work, then you don't work. If you're unable to work because of your disability, then people work from home. You know, they get jobs like doing marketing and stuff with Amazon or other companies. So, but I do know a lot of people get out of the military and they have this ego about themselves. I try not to use that ego. I've been humiliated more outside the military, especially working for a cola company. I'm 43 years old and I'm working for a 27-year-old boss who treats me absolutely like shit. And then when I go into stores, people are like, "Hey boy, get down there and get that cube of soda." And I'm like, if you only knew like what I did in the military. And no one cares about that. They really don't. I had like this thing in my head, like I wanted to like unalive people. I don't know. It's just totally crazy. So, but we lose the structure. But with networking and education, we build that structure. So, and I believe that you can, it doesn't matter who you are, you can reinvent yourself. You can reinvent yourself without the rank. So the next subject is post-traumatic stress disorder versus I'm fine culture. I know many people who transitioned out of the military and they were like, "I'm fine. I don't need this. I don't need to file for disability." But you know what? They know that they have a problem, but their ego gets in the way. And then like 20 years down the road or 10 years down the road, they snap like on their family members. And then they want to come back and ask for help. And then when they can't get the help, they blame the military for their problem. So I would say if you're in the military right now, active, you need to document everything that happens to you. Like sick call, you're sick, you get a shot, anything. Because it's going to benefit you when you get out, especially when you file for your disability. I'm just going to say that. Post-traumatic stress disorder, there's so many different illnesses and disabilities and stuff that people have. I suffer from severe PTSD, bipolar 1, schizophrenia, but I'm trying to live those down with coping mechanisms. So the question is, are veterans actually healing, or are they just masking it better? Like, are they hiding it? Well, I will tell you that from what I'm seeing, I don't think that the veteran community is getting any better with current situation that's going on in our world. Big Farm is pushing medication. These veterans overprescribe, and then they unalive themselves and become a 22. I truly believe that one day we may have municipal or edibles in the VA system. I know they're testing like in Colorado, Utah, where it's legalized. But as long as Big Farm's around, I don't think it's going to happen. So you're performing very high, but you're broken. You know, you can be very successful, but you're like a mirror. I always perceive people as mirrors. Okay. I take people as mirrors because you have that shiny, and then the inside, like myself, I'm a very lonely person. And now I talk about it. Before I used to be like in the closet. I never talked about it. So alcohol culture. There's lots of veterans who turn to alcohol, turn to drugs. Some veterans won't even take their medication. Crap just came out about the VA facilities trying to pool veterans' disability because if they take their medicine, they're getting better. Let me tell you what, medicine does not make you better. I truly believe medicine, the way you eat, the way you perform, exercise, all that. And I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I will tell you that up here, I think I'm 110% today. Without being with my therapist that I've had since 2008, and I never tell my therapist that, oh, I feel great, I'm the best in the world, today's a great day. You're going to have your good days and your bad days. Functional trauma. I believe everybody has some type of trauma. It doesn't matter who you are, man, woman, cat, dog. You've had some type of trauma. You've had a family member die. You've had witnessed something, and you're always going to have this trauma. And it's always going to follow you. It doesn't matter what you do. I believe the demons will always be there. Okay. And then the last of this subject, avoiding therapy. Well, I would tell you, if you get some type of service connection and you avoid therapy, you avoid going to your appointments, you avoid going to get like your labs or just going and doing like FaceTime with your doctor and stuff, you may lose your benefits. It only takes just a few minutes to like reach out, talk to the doctor, see how everything's going. And, it's like a check-in. All right. So number 3, financial transition and benefits confusion. Question: why do so many veterans struggle financially after they leave service? Well, there are so many financial institutions out there that know that veterans are going to jump on the quickest loan or whatever. I won't lie. I had the 29% interest. I had the 32% interest, when I got out. Man, I was struggling so hard when I got out of the military. I sold my 1963 Classic Corvair for $12,000. I got that car when I was a private for $1,200. I fixed that car up. You could eat off the engine for diapers and wipes. My daughter's a teenager now. She's definitely not on diapers and wipes no more. And we don't have the car that we bought. And I don't live in the house no more that I bought. So should I have kept the 63 Corvair? I don't know. I think I like that car better than my family. So I'm kind of glad I got rid of it. But you have these people saying, hey, if you're in debt, we can get you out of debt. Now, let me tell you what. I'm going to tell you this thing about debt reconsolidation. There are organizations out there that will lower when you go through these debt consolidation companies. And I'm a prime example. I went through Freedom Debt Consolidation, and they paid off a huge, significant amount of my loan that I had. But here's the thing. The difference between the payoff and what you pay off, like if you owe $7,000 or they paid off $7,000, you're going to get a 1095 or a 1099 at the end of the year, and you're going to pay taxes on that. There's always a catch. So catch 22, I call it. There's always a catch to something. Just remember that. Why do we suffer? Talking points are VA claims and backlog, disability ratings and confusion, GI Bill misuse, entrepreneur and employment. So I'm going to cover disability ratings and confusion. So a lot of people go in there. There's a lot of people that are confused. I would tell you, talk to other veterans before you go into your rating eval and stuff like that. Sleep apnea is a big thing for people. Now we're finding out that different types of food that we eat while we're in the military, like our meals ready to eat, are causing effects and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you that the VA claims are so backlogged. Some people are still trying to get their benefits. I used my GI Bill a little bit, but misuse, I think I mismanaged it because like when my kid was like 2, I was so drugged up that I didn't try to transfer until she was like 10. And then the VA told me that it was too late. Like I didn't have the 9/11 GI Bill, which is transferable any time of service or after service. I had the post GI Bill, which is now expired, but I can still use it for myself. So, entrepreneurship. I believe I'm an entrepreneur. I build a global platform that I use with my podcasting and my mental health, but you don't have to be rich to do that. Versus employment, I believe every veteran struggles to try to get employed. I've seen people work at gas stations. I've seen people work at McDonald's. Hey, if you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the bills. All right. Number 4, loneliness and brotherhood withdrawal. Why is civilian friendship so hard after the military? One, I'm just going to tell you, one of them is politics. If you're Gen X like me, when I was in high school, politics didn't mean shit. And now the same people that I went to high school, they've unfriended me because like politics is the main thing. Like I just found out today that my civilian mentor has now unfollowed me and told me that I'm anti-American and he can't go with that no more. He can't go with, because I served honorably to this country. The shit that's going on today, I'm speaking out about it and he can't deal with it no more. So politics is a huge thing when you get out. Loss of a tribe. Like, you have the E4 Mafia, you have your senior enlisted, and then you have your command sergeant majors and officer ranks that they all like are nitpicky type group, civilian disconnect, like the way we speak to people, the way we address people. But I do know that the civilian people are not soldiers no more. So we have to watch when we transition out of the military. All right. Isolation in plain sight. So you ever been like in a full room of everybody and you feel like you're not there, like you're there all alone? A lot of soldiers get out, don't have their brotherhood no more, and they isolate themselves. So I think it's a very emotional thing that we go through. Number 5, I didn't really like number 5, but I am going to cover it. Veteran entrepreneurship boom. Question, are veterans built to be entrepreneurs, or are they just unemployable in a corporate America? I've seen a lot of my veteran friends become very rich and very stable. Like they have their own businesses. They have their own restaurants. One of my friends is a chef, Brentley. I served with him 4 years here as an advisor for Field Artillery. He now got out. I never thought that dude would ever be a chef. One of my friends is a CEO for like a huge community service. He was a sergeant major. So I believe that, like I said, it all depends on how you apply yourself when you get out. So I truly believe that after you take off the boots, you have to control the structure. And some people, the leadership will carry over. But I will tell you that, because I was in a leadership position, was knocked down from a leadership position, back up to a leadership position, I always use my leadership from on the battlefield. Okay. And I believe at 19 years old, I earned my leadership on the battlefield because I wrote in my book, 96 Hours, our number 1 man cannoneer busted his wrist and my little dumb ass got in the gun, didn't even know how to fire a damn cannon. And I got in there and shot a 45 round mission and walked down that motherfucker like a Desert Storm hero that I thought I was. But, and I also have a leadership page, military and corporate leadership page on Facebook. And I will just tell you that I learned, it was instilled in us and it's instilled in the military, a type of leadership that you will follow. But I learned now in the last couple of years that there's like 850 different definitions of leadership, corporate and military. So I believe if you were in a leadership position, We learn discipline, esprit de corps, brotherhood. You take that leadership, you network, and you get education. Not like go to college or whatever. Some people don't go to college and they're very successful. So, and then also, you get in these jobs, man. You get in these jobs that take you down the rabbit hole and you get burned out. Like some of these civilian jobs, man, they just take you and take you and take you. Number 6, mental health awareness movement, real or primitive or performative. See, I don't like to read. Question: has veteran mental health awareness actually improved, or is it just social media branding? Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of organizations out there that say they help veterans and they don't do a goddamn thing. Now, there are more veteran podcasts out there that fucking help veterans, okay? Like if you're out there buying fucking charms and bracelets and shit, you think your money's going to help some fucking organization? Maybe 5% of it is. I know one organization that's true to what they do, and that's Grunt Style Foundation. You join their club for $22 a month. You get in the Palm Tree Foundation Club instead of the Cross Rifles. And it's almost like every cent that they get, like the 22, like they already have Grunt Style. So all that money's going to all their marketing and all that shit. But Grunt Style Foundation basically gives that money to the veterans' families that overprescribe or are no longer here. So I would watch who you interact with veteran community. Like, I don't like the VFW. I don't like the Women's Auxiliary. I don't like any of those outside organizations because, like, once you sign to be a member, they want fucking dues and shit, man. I'm not fucking paying monthly dues. I don't pay fucking no one. I'm not a puppet. I'm not married. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. I'm not a puppet. Like, I've been a puppet, okay? And now it's my game. So if you don't agree with that, continue to be a puppet, you know? I'm now interacting with some of my friends that their marriages aren't going very well, you know? It's different. Like when you get out of the military, you're not the big bad sergeant no more, and you're not in shape like you were, or, you know, some guys try to stay in shape, but the medicine makes you deteriorate. Yeah, I think some media social platforms brand it, but they don't do shit for us. Talking points, 988 awareness. I'm always talking about 988. Every morning I talk about 988, 911. Don't be afraid to call if you're struggling. There are people out there struggling, I'm telling you. Shitloads of people out there struggling, okay? Token support. Really, I don't know what that means. Seriously, I don't know what token support is. I would just say, like, maybe giving money to organizations. I don't believe in that. Thank you for your service culture. There's a lot of people that say thank you for your service. I say I appreciate it. You know, if they want to talk about it, as few things you don't ask people, or you kill people on the battlefield, how many people have you killed? You don't talk about that kind of shit. Like, I learned about that all when I became an author. You don't talk about none of that shit. So, and then it all depends on your actions, on how you perceive people. Like, shit, I got almost terminated for looking at a woman the wrong way, you know? In the civilian government, they're real picky about that shit. You look at somebody like you want to kill them, man, they fucking hang your shit up quick. All right, number 7. Divorce and family breakdown after service. Question: why do so many veteran marriages collapse after transition? I would say part of it's mental. Intake with pills, ED, can't get it up no more. The wife doesn't seem to be interested in you no more. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was in a marriage. As soon as I was like a jackrabbit, man. When I was here and when I met Kelly, my ex, and man, we were just banging and screwing and knocking the walls off. And I came back from Iraq from my 5th tour, man, and we had Isabel. It was like, thank you, I got the kid. Fuck you, I don't want to be with you no more. You're not a breadwinner. You're nothing. Like, you're absolute garbage. But I will tell you today, after all the shit that we've been through, I'm actually speaking to her now because, when when your 13-year-old daughter comes to you and says, why do you keep calling mom a bitch? Like, what did she do to you? Like, she doesn't know that we were not intimate for 10 years. Mom laid there, my daughter laid between us, and I laid on the other side hoping that I would fucking die. So when your daughter tells you that she ain't going to talk to you no more because you called them bitches and stuff, you need to check yourself. I was very mentally abusive to my wife and my daughter. And yeah, man, I was suicidal in 2014. So emotional shutdown. Yeah, we shut down, man. Regenerating into family roles. Like if you're a platoon sergeant, first sergeant, if you had a family, then you understand. But see, me, I was in the Army for 19 years. Like I was screwing everything that moved, man. And then I met and settled down with this girl and we got married and I had to be a dad, man. That was hard. I never knew how to be a dad. I was like $2.90 coming out of my pockets left and right, man. And I was still cheating on her when we were like boyfriend and girlfriend. And she knew it. And I believe she was cheating on me too. Yeah, the family roles was hard for me. It was very hard for me. But you know what? I always wanted a boy, but I had a kid. I didn't believe in her. And look, she made me look like a dumbass. Like an absolute freaking dumbass. My kid's like a world champ, 2-time world champ, now a coach and all that shit. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Now I totally believe in her and she believes in me and my message and, anger cycles. You cannot tell me that you're like super anger free. I see people getting shots in their neck. I see people going to the outdoor adventures and fucking shit with their families. But you know what? There's always going to be triggers, man. Like, you know what? You thought that I was going to come on here and not say one swear word? Shit, man. To get my message across, I have to swear. So, and I won't lie. Like, I take my anger out on my dog. Like, I yell at my dog, and I know people around me like, that motherfucker crazy, dude. But I don't have a loved one, and I think I'm the kind of person that don't need to have a loved one because, like, I think all I would do is just yell at them. It doesn't matter if I say, I'm not on these pills no more and I'm taking other alternatives. Dude, man, I always feel the anger is always there. It's not going to go nowhere. Parenting after trauma. I believe I had trauma all the way from when I was a kid, all the way to the marriage, all the way through my marriage. I still have trauma. Like I miss my kid. I'm not getting no sex. I admit, like I'm going to tell you the raw as it is. Like I don't do that shit. Number 8, physical wear and tear versus visible injuries. Why are invisible wounds taken so less seriously than physical ones? Well, I saw this personally at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. I saw people missing limbs. I saw people missing eyeballs with patches. And the only thing that they had on their mind was to get the fuck out of there and start and regenerate their life. They were not worried about mental health. But me, I was fucked up inside. And I think people knew it because I talked about it. And when you're in a outpatient, inpatient psych unit at the Wounded Warrior Transition Unit, definitely clicks a little bit differently. When you sit down in classes and shit and talk to people that have been through much worse shit than you, especially sexually abused and stuff like that. The talking points are chronic pain, TBI or traumatic brain injury, mental versus physical validation, and proving the disability. I would tell you, when I got out of Walter Reed, I was 50%. And I think because I have the same therapist today, all the way to where I am today, and 22 when I got 100% PMT, I never filed another claim again because I know what happens if you file another claim. Why? You're already getting paid the money that you're going to get. But you know what? It's still not enough. I mean, this world, the economy, the way it is, you got to budget your shit. TBI, I think most people who fire a weapon system or a heavy machine gun, and I heard some people talk about this on a veteran podcast the other night, and this girl Maria brought up that she actually agreed with me because like she's seen that people can get TBI. Now I said PTSD, and then someone corrected me and said no, it's traumatic brain injury. So yeah, you got people that go to the range the first time, never picked up an M16 in their entire fucking life, will fire a weapon and fucking get shot, culture shock. Or when you're in combat, like you're only authorized when you're on the range to fire so many rounds out of that weapon system. And then they've done research where like multiple engagements, just the fucking shaking of the gun can fucking rattle your brain. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy, man. Mental versus physical validation. I think when I was in Walter Reed, man, I had to validate myself, man, before I had to go home because they knew that some of these soldiers, man, like my last tour, I didn't have a weapon. Like the only thing I wanted to do was kill the enemy, man, when I came home, and the enemy was my family. So if you know anybody that's in that situation, man, before you transition out, man, you better get with them and sit down with them. And we're always in chronic pain. Like I'm always going through it, but I'm never going to sit down with my primary healthcare manager and be like, my pain level was a 0 today. Well, that's what they're looking for. Don't do that shit. Here is the political question. And I spoke to my buddy about this, and he told me that he doesn't know that I should bring this up or not, but political fatigue and veteran voice. All right. So, question. Are veterans being used politically more than they're being helped? Here's my opinion as a veteran from what I see. Now, 47 had a parade, right? He had a big parade last year, and all kinds of equipment got moved in to DC. People saw shit on trains, thought it was going to National Training Center. They shipped fucking tanks and Bradleys and fucking all kinds of shit. And then guess what? They deployed the fucking National Guard to DC, Chicago, and all this shit because they said that there were riots. I just think it was the whole political movement, like a whole political stance. Like, you think your boy's in the White House right now with all the shit that's going on right now? Fuck no, man. They said he got on an airplane and went to Texas. That motherfucker did not go to Texas. I'm telling you that. That motherfucker went. I believe someday, man, like these movies, there'll always be an uprising on the White House. Ain't no goddamn gate. And these idiots that guard the White House, these motherfuckers ain't gonna hold back. But I believe the National Guard that are in DC, that's a whole political stunt. Really it is. And you know what? Ain't nobody asking them how they're living, what kind of food they're eating. For a while, they threw these motherfuckers out on the street, and the motherfucking illegal immigrants were living in their barracks and shit in their hotel rooms in DC. And they didn't give a fuck about their veterans. For the longest, I've had a battle with my friend Matt from high school, and he's like, man, you know, this guy's always fucking talking shit about veterans and not helping them. I mean, the veterans do get paid pretty good, man, but I truly believe if you served our country honorably, when you walk out of the military, you should automatically be 10%. And then it's up to you to file your disability and your claims. That being said, the talking points are election cycles. I don't vote, so I'm not going to talk about that. Symbolism and policy. Everything's numbers. 666, 333, 67, 76. All these different numbers and grammatical numbers and shit. They're always talking that 33 people died here and 33 people got injured here and this many people got this during 9/11, and it's all fucking political agenda. Public narrative. I'm just going to say predictive programming. Everything is predictive programming. Veteran exploitation. I don't think veterans are being taken care of the way they need to be taken care of. I think that they exploit veterans in a different way. I think that a lot of people, when they see a combat veteran, they immediately, it's called like reading, it's like reading, judging a book by its cover. I might be just a fucked up individual. I might yell at people, but that's not me all the time. So, and I want to handle this carefully because this is a very trending subject globally. So, I don't like veterans in politics. I really don't. I don't think it should be used on podcast. Number 10, our last question. Current global conflict, veteran perspective. And this is the number one active subject for active duty. How do veterans view today's global conflicts different than civilians? Well, number one, mainstream media lies about everything. I don't give a fuck. If you know someone who's deployed, they're going to tell you exactly what the fuck's going on. Talking points are Ukraine, which I don't hear shit about the Ukraine no more. Middle East fatigue. I don't even think it's fatigue, but I do know that, we've started something I don't think we're going to get out of. I really don't want to talk about that because that's almost political. Media versus ground truth. The media lies. They manipulate everything. Let's talk to the soldiers right now that are injured. How many soldiers do you think are injured right now? And it's not even a ground war. Like they're in their barracks sleeping and shit. And fucking missile comes in and fucking unalives them. Thank you for serving our country. And 47 said it himself. There's going to be more casualties. Your sons and daughters are going to go into combat and they're going to fight for this other country. That's all I'm going to say about that. War experience versus armchair commentary. I believe that people that are subject matter experts are war experience. You ain't getting no goddamn subject matter expert out of no book. All right. Armchair commentary. I don't know. I think it's like the mainstream media trying to portray something that they're not. Emotional triggers and responses is the last thing. There are many triggers. I'm triggered all the time. I get triggered from sense. I get triggered from smell. I get triggered from stupidity. I don't like waiting in lines, even though I did a lot of it while I was in the military. I barely complain about food because I've had the shittiest food in the world. But I just want to say that if you have any questions or comments about what I discussed today, I just want to let you all know that, success is hard work. There's no doubt that if you network and get educated, and when you leave the military, you'll be successful. But the grass is not greener on the other side. Trust me. I'd like to know your questions and comments about what you thought of Vet Talk. I am Storytime with Stevo. Always remember there are 22 veterans a day. Actually, it's up to like 44 veterans a day that take their lives. And let's not forget, like, their family members as well. Like, the wives go through that shit too. And so do their kids. So if you're in silence, reach out. I'm always open to talk. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. If you don't agree with my message, unfollow me. I don't care. My message is global. I have a podcast host of the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast, and I want to thank you very much for coming on today. And like I said, if you want to be a guest, come check me out. I am Storytime with Stevo. Thank you very much. You are enough. You get out of the military and no one tells you how to write a resume. You are handed a DD Form 214, your certificate of service, and suddenly you're on your own. I am William A. Stevens, Jr., a retired United States Army Field Artillery Sergeant First Class, and I know exactly what it feels like I am also a 3-time award-winning author and an Eric Hoffer Book Award winner in 2025 for The Broken Mirror. In this book, I tell it raw, unfiltered, the truth about survival, the trauma, the bonds, and the breaks along the way, especially the bond with my own daughter. If you are leaving the uniform life, feeling lost and disconnected, unsure of who you are, here's how it is. You are not failing. It takes time. You are not alone. The Broken Mirror is more than my story. It is a guide, a hand to hold, a way to face the silence, step back into purpose, and find your voice again. And don't be left in the silence. But I'll tell you, the grass is not greener on the other side.
We were trained to endure, to adapt, to overcome. But nobody prepared us for what comes after the uniform comes off. This season, we're pulling the curtain back on the system veterans are forced to survive, not just serve. From suicides happening at VA hospitals, to mental health care that falls short, to growing fears about disability compensation ratings and cost cutting. We're asking the questions no one wants answered. Why are veterans still fighting for care? Who's really being protected? And who's being left behind? And what happens when silence costs lives? This isn't politics. This isn't opinions. This is lived experience. Season 3 of Crawl, Walk, Run, where we stop whispering, start questioning, and refuse to stay silent.
Crawl, Walk, Run has been brought to you by Storytime with Stevo. And speaking for the once in silence, we are the voice of the unheard. If you have a story, please reach out. Till next time.